Oi, this is the Profanity Gnome, and I'm here to tell you that if you're under 13 years old, fuck off this video! Get the fuck off YouTube! Get your mama to get your dad's cock out of her ears and actually be a parent! This is for adults only! And for everybody else, enjoy the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below what you think, you fuck buckets. To stand out among the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud, till mine is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out till you notice me. The animators draw all your proportions in the right places, but dang, do they weigh you down! Ooh, nothing but boulders and blocked entrances and exits and ooh. Find everybody else and get out of here, or get the sword first. I'm sure everybody will forgive me if I decide to. Not so fast! Eh? What do you think you're doing? Going after my treasure on my fandom? Satan and the rest of us did almost all of the work. If anything, that treasure belongs to him, not you or me. And if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be on this stupid quest. Well, if the quest was so stupid, why were you going on it in the first place? Because the treasure isn't yours or mine to take, but is to be given to the next highest power. Treasure given to the next... That is not something Scrooge would ever say! He would rather die than give up a single penny of his treasure trove. Dickney got to you, didn't he? Well, if that's the case, there is no way in hell I will ever let you get your hands on that sword. Well, if you pull a club out of a Scotsman's hands, you better be prepared to knock him out with it. I've tangled with way worse than you, Scrooge. Bring it. This is the night of Dispel, Part 2. The episode begins where we last left off. Dispel has returned, and she wastes no time and hesitation in wreaking havoc and controlling her shadow minions. And there's nothing Scrooge can do about it, since he's currently trapped in his lucky dime. And thus, Dispel has the run of Duckburg. But don't worry, they have heroes to save it. Well, kind of. As in the process of taking everyone's shadows, our unfortunate superhero gets his suit jacked. And none of the supervillains can do anything about it either, since their shadows get jacked as well. And Glomgold gets thrown into the ocean. Remember that, that'll be an important detail later, write that down. So as Magica decides to take everything Scrooge ever had treasured in his entire life, starting with his money bin, the kids question who the heck is this lady, but thankfully Webby is there to explain she is Magica Dispel, one of Scrooge's oldest and most ancient of rivals. Haven't been seen, however, for some time, until now. Thankfully, though, they're joined by a few extras, Manny the Man-Horse and Dr. Gearloose, and so they do have some reinforcements, as Donald tries to come up with a plan, though nobody can understand him. So Dr. Gearloose creates a funky gadget and forces Donald to swallow it, and I don't like this voice coming out of him. It's not right! It's either unintelligible gibberish or nothing for Donald. Ugh. Well, this makes him a lot more badass, and since people can actually understand him, they're actually able to follow his guidance, including making the kids stay behind as the adults take care of the situation. But when has that ever stopped the kids, as they decide they're going to get reinforcements with Lena. Oh, right. They don't know what happened to her yet. Your loony-toony tricks aren't going to work on this old duck. You idiot! I'm not trying to hurt you! what did we miss? Everybody, on your feet, double time! It's combat mode!
But Queen, reinforcements have arrived! What are your orders?
Keep the gens occupied! Do not let any of them pass, under any circumstances! Do whatever you have to! No quarter!
We understand! Our Queen!
Ah, crap baskets. Well, the episode continues as everybody begins to man an assault on the money bin, and Donald gets probably the most badass line I think he's ever said, but it still doesn't work with that voice! And Magica Dispel is continuously gloating to Scrooge McDuck, still trapped in the dime. The kids head to where they think Lena lives, where they find a secret underground compartment where they essentially find her house. And also her diary. And as responsible children, they immediately start reading it. They learn the history of what happened. That Scrooge and Magica were in a Mortal Kombat duel, but when one of her magical blasts hit his lucky dime, it sucked her into the dime instead of vice versa. But even though she lost most of her magical power, some of it remained. And whatever shadow remained took on a form and a life of its own. That life force being Lena. Yep, Webby and the boys finally learned the truth. That Lena had been playing them for a sap from the beginning. Well, at least at the beginning. But as Magica Dispel continues to gloat about what she's going to destroy of Scrooge's necks, the assault begins on the money bin. But it's immediately outclassed because Magica is so dang powerful. With this eclipse, all of her powers, and even the lucky dime giving her some strength, she's able to hold off the forces of Scrooge McDuck. But thankfully, she didn't take into account the children, who scuba dive through the secret underground laboratory of Dr. Gearloose, and Louis finds his sword again. And thus they begin their battle upstairs.
Special beam cannon!
No! Huh? Right. Forgot. Man, why did we have to get stuck with the Z Warrior bees?
Gallic gun fire!
We can't fight off the bees, try to help Gent and protect Leslie and Moldavite all at the same time. What are we supposed to do?
Prepare to finish him off in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, someone's pissed, and I don't think we want to be around when he gets there. Just give up! Let me take the sword and we could all win!
You just want to give it to Dickney and it's not going to happen!
Enough! So as the family continues to do battle outside, Donald dives into the bay. I think he's going to go through the Gearloose way as well, as the children are heading continuously upstairs. But they're ambushed by their shadows, which is a mild inconvenience with one power shortage and night vision goggles later. They enter into Scrooge's, office, but then are immediately attacked by a bunch of very familiar shadows. But thankfully, Donald had magically just got there and saved the day. How did he beat them up the stairs without them noticing? It doesn't matter. At first, he looks pissed. But apparently this was all part of his plan all along, to get them to come in through a secret route that Magica couldn't anticipate. So he sends the kids off to fight Magica as he deals with an army of shadows. And honestly, I kind of want to see this fight more, but the main fight has just ahead. The kids make their way into the royal treasure chamber as Magica is there to greet them with all of her vengeance magic. And as Donald begins to go up against the fight against a shadow evil Gizmo Duck, why aren't we seeing that fight? As well as Fenton riding in, charging in the vanguard, and everything else that's going on, the kids begin to fight Aunt Magica in their own unique ways. Huey tries the intellectual approach, Louie tries the tricking approach, Webby just decides to kick her ass, which actually puts her a bit on the defensive side. But with all the advantages Magica has, she is way too powerful for them. But just in the nick of time, Lena actually makes an appearance, coming straight from the Shadow Realm to deal battle with Magica. And with her effort combined with Webby, Magica drops the dime, which Dewey manages to get, and just barely manages to hang on to. He tries to make amends with Scrooge, but he forgets he's currently in a battle, and every second counts, and as Magica begins to do her final rage assault, her magic blasts the dime once more, reversing the effects, and Scrooge rejoins the battle.
So, care to tell me how a simple treasure hunting mission has devolved into this?
Give me back my cane, Satan. There will be an equal portion of the treasure for all of us.
You can cut the small talk, Scrooge. I know you're under the control of Dickney. There is no way in hell that you would ever share treasure.
Why is that the first thing that you two always go to?
It's the most obvious character flaw. We're reviewers. We can sense this.
And you'll know that sword rightfully belongs to us, and to our Lord and Master.
Dickney's messing with your head. You gotta fight the control.
No one controls Scrooge McDuck but Scrooge McDuck. Not you, not Dickney, not... wait, where did he go? That opportunistic little son of a...
You keep going, gent. Grab the sword. I'll take Scrooge.
Well, with Scrooge rejoining the battle, he makes pretty quick short work of Magica Dispel, managing to disarm her while taunting her. And getting the cane out of her hand, it immediately lands on Donald's skull, which fractures the magic, causing all the magic Dispel has in her arsenal to get drained right out of her, transforming her back into what looks like a more true to her form counterpart to her original form in the 1980s version. And then a launch pad falls right on top of her, sealing the deal. Wow, every bone in his body should have broken, but thankfully Launchpad runs on the power of stupid. And Magica decides to pull a Vegeta and get the fuck out of there now that the giant man baby has crushed her. And so the day is saved, but not without some personal cost with the loss of Lena. Well, maybe not as lost as we might think she is. And so the family hugs it out. Donald gets rid of that god-awful tech in his throat, and everybody celebrates by dipping down and swimming in a solid surface of gold. But it's not over yet, as the show has one final cliffhanger to get you hooked on to Season 2. As we journey to a crashed spaceship on the moon, where a televised report shows the family, and as well as CNN Duck, explaining how the Ducks saved the day from Magica Dispel, and we see that maybe there's still hope for Della Duck yet. And that was The Night of Dispel, Part 2, and a suiting finale to a Season 1 arc. And as far as it goes, it was amazing. It gave a lot of cool scenarios, but sadly didn't follow through on some of the more imaginative. I mean, who wouldn't want to see a evil version of Gizmo Duck go up against a roid-raged Donald Duck? I felt like that could have been a small animated fight all on its own to see him overcome that. It's also nice to see that Magica Dispel didn't lose any of her initial charisma and fun personality once she got her body back. She was just the same goofball of a duck even after she got it, but now she's even more interesting since she's got the power, and immediately lost it. I hope to see more of Magica in the future. She's a fun villain. In a lot of ways, that's what this episode was. fun. The classic battle of good versus evil, right versus wrong, and the union of a family against a common foe. And of course, a lot of potential for Season 2. Not only to see where Lena and the Webby storyline goes, not only with where Fenton, Gizmo Duck, Donald Duck, Gizmo, and Gyro, and Scrooge and the boys, and Webby, and everything goes, but also with the addition of Della Duck being alive on the moon. As my meme says, I have so many questions on that. How is she on the moon? How did she survive? How is she surviving? She's on the moon. No air, no food, no water. There are so many questions that it'll take a whole other season to answer. This is a genuinely good season finale. And it truly represents everything good that Season 1 has built up and alluded to over the course of all these episodes. It was a privilege to watch this. To watch all of this. All 23 episodes. I think there were 23 episodes. It doesn't matter. I'll look through them later. It was phenomenally good. And with that being said, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen, the organizers of chaos. See you next time.
I can't breathe! Tough, deal with it! I thought you'd take me out with some magical weapons! There's nothing wrong with an old-fashioned headlock!
And there. I would have thought that the flaming sword of legend would look less generic. Oh well, I'm sure Satan can explain that. What? Satan? I hate to tell you this. Like, I really don't want to make this whole thing for nothing, but the sword kinda went poof. Poof? Yeah, poof. Like, gone. It's kind of all over the floor now.
I guess that's what happens when the ultimate weapon and treasure of religion itself is over a millennia old. Let's get out of here.
And that's kind of what we did. We just got out of there. After clearing away all the rock and the rubble with no more treasure to fight over, there was no more real conflict. Although Dickney, I'm sure, wasn't too happy that he wasn't getting his flaming sword of legend. Scrooge, now that their treasure was gone, apparently had his spell broken over him, and he actually apologized to us. It's kind of a shock.
A big shock. Albeit, though, we decided, even though we were welcome in the Ducktales fandom, it probably wasn't the best idea to stick around. Especially with Dickney around. Yeah.
But we did pick up Moldavite, who just wanted a ride back. Though, even though we weren't exactly going back to Steven Universe, Satan for some reason insisted.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Why did you insist?
Let's just say it might have been a little bit our fault she was in that predicament.
But not that it matters, because this gives us the opportunity to go by a fandom that's been a while since we visited. Whee! To stand out
Among the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud,
Till mine is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out
till you notice me.
a spot of green tea with some lemon.
Thank you.
You know, it was kind of convenient how the flaming sword just poofed to dust, and everything kind of worked out in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, maybe not. If that truly was the flaming sword, a little bit of age wasn't going to poof it into dust. No, I'm sure the flaming sword is still out there. That whole adventure was a red herring. But if the flaming sword does pop up, I'm sure we'll know it when we see it, right?
Of course, Master Satan.